Welcome back to the channel where we're going to do a few things today. Number one, we're going to fix this tire. We're going to install our budget fender flares that I won on the eBay JK. And we're definitely going to be doing more work in the shop. So stay tuned. Looks like they drove through a construction zone here because we got one nail here and one nail there, or one screw there for sure. Ooh, got lucky. That one did not go deep enough to hurt anything, so it's just this one. That one went through. Ah, there we go. Finally found it. All right, let's see if we can get it in there. There we go. All right, now all I gotta do is take a razor knife, trim that off. We'll put a little air back in the tire. That one's good to go. One project down. Got my list. Do you guys write your lists on cardboard? Time to head to the depot. Get some parts for this shop. All right, got my lumber for the shop. And let me do a quick explanation here. You guys have been wondering why I took rear steer off my Samurai. This is my old Samurai. This is a drag axle one. It does not have rear steer. This is my poor beat up Samurai that has rear steer, but it keeps breaking. I keep having issues with it. We'll have to go over that later. But a lot of that is still actually Samurai. It's got a, well, I should say a sidekick. I got a 1.6 8-valve. I now have a sidekick transmission and then some different T-cases, but I did have a Samurai transmission and a Samurai T-case. But the one you guys are always interested in is this one. This is the one that I took through the trails in South Dakota. This is the one that I'm going to be competing in Goldendale, Washington. So this one has a 22R Toyota motor, 2.4 liter, you know, the old reliable, with a 5-speed W56 transmission and then dual toy cases. Beyond that is a Dana 70 and a Dana 60 out of an old Dodge. This thing was kind of a thrown together build. It has tug truck gears in it, so it has 717 gears in both the axles. And then the rear is welded, and the front has a Yukon Grizzly locker. The steering and the propane setup were actually pulled from a Toyota Forklift. There's a couple reasons that propane works nice for a rock crawler. Number one, it's very simple to wire. It's like a one-wire setup for your vaporizer, and you're done. Number two, it's cheap fuel injection. It'll run at any angle, upside down, right side up, doesn't matter. Number three is the octane. It always stays at whatever propane is, like 120 or 130 octane all the time. So it can sit here for 2 years. That never changes. So it doesn't matter, like gasoline will go bad, propane doesn't. But here's the downside. There's two downsides to it. Number one, propane does not like running when it's cold. It likes to be warm when it's run. So when you start a vehicle up when it's cold out, this thing runs a little bit crummy until the day warms up. And two, nobody ever has a spare gallon of propane, so you better have some extra bottles. And if you guys are looking to do propane setup, this one has the 1.6 propane setup from Got Propane, and he does it for Toyota motors, he does it for Chevy V8s, he does it for everything. He's out of Arizona. You're wanting to fuel inject your motor on a budget, maybe check out Got Propane. So both these Samurais were total budget builds. I mean, yeah, I got 1-ton axles that are salvage yard axles, but they really are budget builds. They're not these high-end $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 buggies. So if that's something you guys want to see me do in the future, or after we get the Pacer done, let me know, because, you know, I'm not scared to build a buggy out of junkyard parts. I don't want to build a high-end one. I'd rather build it out of parts that you can find. Make something rad, because these things work good. I mean, they work real good for what they are. Takes a little bit of driver too, I'll say that. All right, so what I want to do in here is add another little shelf, basically, to put stuff up high that just sticks out over this door, because this is going to be wasted space going up that 14 feet. So I have a little shelf here, and then I got more storage above this door that I'm not going to use any other way. Also, because if you guys remember the other video in the shop, we built this. I want to go ahead and put a 4x4 in right at that split, and then that way it has some support underneath as well. You know, it's all 2x6, it's stout, and it doesn't go anywhere. The kids were doing pull-ups off it. We'll go ahead and put that on there. That way I got a little bit of support, a little bit of feel goods down in here that it's gonna hold up better. So I'm gonna have Ian working on the shop stuff while I change out these fender flares. Now the funny thing about these fender flares is I won them in an auction, at that Jeep event for $100. So I got Bushwhacker fender flares for $100 for the old eBay JK. Can't really beat that price. I think that they're probably a lot more than that if I were to buy them new. Either way, we got to pull these off. So the first thing I got to do is take our 10mm and get these 3 bolts. Right here, and right there.
Just got done chopping up the 2x6 for the first start of holding up that cooler. I don't know what to say.
It's just like his dad. And there's one more right here. Pew! I think the next thing is, once you get those bolts off, is just to pull this thing off. Yep. There we go. Goodbye, plastic clips. And we got one little plug right here for the little marker light that we'll get out of the way. There it is. All right. Yay for making messes.
Jeez.
So if you want to do it the nice way, don't do it like this. Because I'm just yanking. One more hide of screw. All right. Now we got it all out of here. Make that stuff go goodbye. All right, where are you at, boy?
I got my little spacer right here, so then it lines up with this piece of metal right here. Put that right there, and then get this 2x6 going across, and then be lined up right against that line right there.
Cool. Well, let's get that going.
Let's get it going.
The way we were doing those into the metal is I would pre-drill a hole, and then we'd come in with a bigger lag bolt and then screw it into the steel. All right, so we got the level up there, got our lag bolts screwed in. We're gonna measure 45 inches so that we'll be 4 foot from top to top on the outside. Even though it says 2x4, 2x4 is actually only 1.5 inches thick. So you gotta take out 3 inches. We got 45 inches of the 48 inches to get our runners this way. So we're gonna cut a couple of those, and then we'll see what we need for this end piece. But we're gonna have basically a 4 foot deep by 5 foot long section up here for just an upper shelf of storage. All right, now one of the things I probably could have done with this to make it a little nicer, I just wanted to see if it'd tear off, and it kind of did, kind of didn't, but is to use a body clip removal tool. Now you can get these anywhere. I got a bunch of Pittsburgh ones. This one is actually a Cornwell one. I don't know how I acquired this, probably when I was wrenching. You have your inner fender well here, and you can just come in here and pop these Christmas trees out. Little plastic body clips. We don't need this anymore. Now this part is user preference. You can either put this back in because you want a splash guard, you don't want to get mud up in your engine bay, or you can leave it out. It's really up to you. I've left these out before, kept my motor running cooler because obviously there's more airflow inside your engine bay. The downside is if you do a lot of mud stuff, you're really going to hate life because it's going to get up into your wiring and everything else. So I'll probably go ahead and put these back in just because that just gives me the little CYA of life. Cover your butt. So all I want to do here is just set this in, and then I can mark out all the inner fender well that we need to take out. Obviously this is all got to go. Anything that sticks outside of the fender is got to be gone. We'll trim all that out, which is a good thing because when I was actually flexing this thing out the other day, it was actually grabbing this bit of plastic on the outside when we returned. So having this gone, it's gonna make things better all the way around. And look who's back already for the next thing. All right, let's go over to the shop.
Oh, party foul.
All right, so now that we got this level, we'll just throw the square on here, square it up, and then I can screw in our 90-degree elbow. All right, so 59 5/8.
59 5/8. Got it.
I'll get this on. Okay, so I got the back one level. It's screwed against the wall. This one, because it's floating, I screwed it in with that 90 where it's just a little high, because once we add weight to it, it's gonna sag and then it'll be perfect. So you can see here, it's just on this side of the bubble, but once you add just a little bit of weight, it'll be level. Now we're looking at the perfect little storage unit. Obviously, I'll still put a 2x going up to hang it, but we have a nice little storage unit spot right here to utilize more space when you got tall walls. So I would never do anything else there. There's nothing that's gonna be blocking the door, so utilizing the space above it is gonna be perfect.
So in the kit, they supply these big washers so that you can bolt this back on. Now we have our inner fender well back in. That's simple. So I was getting ready to put this inner fender flare back in and noticed this. So I went ahead and ran over, grabbed another wire, replaced the wire, and now my eBay headers, I think, are cooking these things. So I did have a loose bolt there too, so I went ahead and put a lock washer on it and got that bolt tightened up, and then hopefully these things don't give me any grief. I also put a cover on that spark plug wire. It's hard to see there, but got a cover on it, so hopefully now we won't have an issue. Now I can go ahead and put these fender flares back in. Okay, so the next thing it says to do is put these on, but now I have my inner fender well in the way, so that's just kind of dumb. I'm going to unbolt the inner fender well so I can get these on, but as you can see here, their saw got away from them at some point, so I'm going to have to just clean this up real quick before I can bolt that on. Well, that looks better. Pull off the boogies. Oh yeah, much better. Now, just looks like we put the bolt in, put it through the fender. Hopefully, they gave us enough washers to do both sides. I didn't count them.
So I'm literally reading through the instructions, and they must be from China, ran into English because they're all backwards of everything you're supposed to do in order. So what you need to do, there's only enough washers to go on the outside, so you cannot put a washer on the inside. Secondly, there are these little clips here that we need to get in first. Put these little clips in first on all your inner pieces down here, and then we can go ahead and screw this on, and then you put your inner fender well on. I don't know why it's all backwards, but that's the way it should have been. So I'm telling you guys so that you know. All right, so we got the front part in. Now we can do the back part. These are directional, so make sure that you have the right side for each side when you put these on. I think the only thing that might not be is maybe this, but it's hard to tell. I actually think this is even directional as well. So all three pieces are directional, and they're not really marked very well, so you kind of got to just lay them up there and see which ones fit. Now once you have this piece tight, this piece just goes in here, and you just have some quick clips, little Christmas trees that we can just put in there. There we go. All right, and now we have our full fender flare for the fender. That doesn't look too bad. That's actually a lot better, a lot more room than this one had, and it doesn't stick out as far, so that's going to be nice. You got a lot more clearance, a lot more high clearance, and you don't have all this stuff hanging down in the way. They give you a bunch of this corner guard. I believe this is so you can put it on the inside of this fender flare and then cut it and then have some for both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll set this thing up. I got to wire in this light, so that'll probably be the next thing we do. Cool. This thing does have a little glue strip in here. So now we have the marker light for this, and it's got its own little 1/4-inch drive action going on here. But what I need to do is cut this and attach this to it. So this is the original marker light. You can just unplug it from the wiring harness. Now I can go ahead and cut this off here. That'll give me enough if I ever want to use that on something else. we'll strip it, and then it comes with these connectors already. So all I got to do is put those in, crimp it, and then heat shrink it, and it'll heat shrink over it. And then it has these connections that go right here. So that's not too bad of a setup, really. Perfect. Now just heat shrink that on. Cool. Now I'm gonna assume that the black wire goes to the black wire and the white wire goes to the white wire. Now this thing bolts in really, really deep, so you're gonna need a pretty long extension to get in there. 11-30 seconds to get in there and get that tight. All right, let's see if it'll reach in there. And I already lost it. That's gonna be fun. Oh yeah, we got it. Got one. All right, cool. It even comes with these little quick clips that go in here. Oh yeah, now it's perfect. Now before you set this on, they do say to go ahead and put one of these on here too. Too bad. Now I just gotta get those screws in. Look at the difference there. Got just enough tire still sticking out, a nice taper, where this one's a little more straight cut, wide, kind of bulky looking. See how thick and all that is, and it rubs. Shouldn't rub now. Look at all the room we got there. Lots and lots and lots of room. Now I should have went with 40s, or at least 37s. All right, so I came in here and Ian was gone. I'm pretty sure he was just waiting to do some stuff, so I went ahead and got this piece in and then got the flooring on. Now he can go in here and put screws in, 4 down since it's 4 foot, so 1 every foot that way and 1 every foot this way. And then we'll get all that screwed in. Then I gotta figure out how to support this, because this has got a little bit of play, not a lot. I mean, once you get the floor screwed in, it'll probably be a lot stiffer, but once again, if I throw tires or anything up there, I want to make sure that it can actually hold it and this thing isn't going to collapse on us. So I haven't decided if I want to try to tie this in up there, which it really doesn't line up very well, or if I want to just put a post right here. We'll just do a 4x4 post right here. And then that way I have something right there, and then I can actually hang stuff off of it as well. Ooh. Feel free to screw it in there. Screw it in, don't screw it up.
I'll try.
Okay. All right, well, I showed you how to do the front. You just repeat the same steps on the other side, but let's move on to the back here. The instructions say remove 4 of the plastic clips, and then it has arrows to 5 spots, so I'm not really sure what that means. I see 4, which is here, here, and then up here on the corners, so up here and up here. Well, that's gonna make it tough. The dang Christmas tree's falling apart. There we go. This one's gonna do the same thing. Just gotta break it. There we go. I'd say these Christmas trees kind of suck. This one broke at the Christmas tree. These ones are just peeling off the tops. There we go. Now that we got the Christmas trees off, per instructions, it says yank it. Alrighty then. Lots of broken plastic. I'd say you really need one of these tools because the little plastic thing that they provide won't do it. Now, per the instructions, you drill all these little plastic rivets out and then you cut your inner fender well out. But I think I'm gonna leave the inner fender well out because you can see all the dirt and grime that's behind there that I can't ever wash. I can't ever get a pressure washer in there. So if I have it out, then I can go ahead and pressure wash it. Now, it might be a little louder inside the vehicle, but that's what I have all that carpet and stuff for, so I'm not really worried about it. I would rather try to prevent rust going forward. So, you know, but being that I'm down in the Southwest, I'm not overly worried about getting it muddied up. Now, I did put the inner fender wells on the front, but that's so I don't get stuff in the engine bay, on the computer, things like that. Where the rear, there really isn't anything, and that way I can actually pressure wash it and get it clean. All right, same deal. These things aren't labeled, so you gotta kind of pick your poison apart, what goes where. I'd say that one goes there, that one goes there. Can't forget our little connector, so this one will go here. Ba-dink. Man, you'd think it was snowing, all this cotton blowing around. Similar to the front, you got to put the little retainer clips in first. That's easy enough. Then it gives us a bunch of these clips, because unlike the front where we had access to get the bolts in, which we have for these 2 spots, the rest of them are going to have to go in with these little Christmas tree clips. It just sits in here, pops through, and then pushed in. The back 3 here get those clips. There we go. Now fortunately it isn't all trusted with Christmas tree clips, and these front 2 we can get bolts in there. But just like the front ones, they only give you enough washers for the bolt side. Now at least we have a couple actual bolts in the back, but the front ones here all go on with the little quick clip, body clip, Christmas trees, whatever you want to call them. So there's 3 here, and then the single one by itself. Coolio. Now I'll just tighten these 2 bolts up. That makes things go a little quicker anyway. Now I gotta cut this stuff. Side note, the front one, it had just enough. Like I had this much extra cutting it in half. So they don't give you any extra. So just be careful that you use, basically split this in half and cut it. All right. There we go. Oh yeah. Way more clearances is. I'm gonna have to trim that bumper back now. Should have went with the 37s. It's a Jeep thing. Alright, just like the front, I'd probably have a short Phillips screwdriver. See if I can get any one of these started. This whole thing looks way off now that the stickies are sticking. Alright, so I just learned that this thing can actually like rotate some, and I need to get it rotated like this. See if I can make this happen. Oh, that isn't what I wanted at all. There we go. Alright. Now I got it. At least one. Alright, now that we got a good starting point, peel this back off. But at least we got that part started. If I can just keep from sticking on that, we'll be good. Now we should be rotated in the right spots. Oh yeah, much better. That looks 1,000 times better. Look at this side versus this side. It just doesn't have any opening at all. This side's nice and open. Still covers up your tire. I'd say not too bad for $100. Same deal with the rear as the front. You repeat the same steps on the other side. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll show you when it's all done. All right, so I want to add a little bit of support here. That is 91 1/8 inches. So I'm going to cut that 4x4. I got a 4x4 here that I'm just going to notch out the front side for, so the back will still be up in here. But the front part will be flush with this, and it'll stick up and add a little support, because we're gonna put some weight up there. Oh yeah. 91 1/8 right here. But like I was saying before, 2x6s, 2x4s, all that are only 1.5 inches thick. So I don't want to go down 2 inches. And this is supposed to be a 4x4, and it's only 3.5 because it's cleaned up. So I'm only going to go 1.5 inches down. Get our little marks here. That's got to go away right there. Now, anybody that's used one of these probably knows this, but if you haven't, if you got a saw, you take this and you can loosen it right here, and you can change the depth. I can actually change the depth by swinging that out and get the depth I need. So I'm gonna get 1.5 inches of depth. That way I can cut straight across this and it'll be perfect. Easiest way to do that is just to look at the blade right there. That's about money. And then lock it down. Perfect. Double perfect. You can also adjust this way if you're looking for a tapered cut as well. One of the reasons why I like using a battery-powered skill saw versus an electric one, if I can, is because these will actually let you know if they're in a bind. They'll kind of bog out a little bit and you can let off. Or like I got a big worm gear drive one, and it'll just wow, and let you know right away that it didn't work. Now you just take a sawzall and catch that last little bit. It'll be perfect. There we go. And there you have it. That's what I call support. So I'll go ahead and take my drill bit, go through the back side on the upper end here, and then I'll put a couple lag bolts in there. That'll keep this thing from moving. All right, we got our 4x4 support on. This is gonna be huge. Plus, it's actually gonna allow me to like hang stuff off of here too. I can put some stuff here that I'm working on this bench and then be able to hang off it. Now I am gonna go ahead and put in some elbows down at the base of this 4x4 that I'll use some red heads to go in the concrete. But we got it leveled up. I got my little mark around it, so we should be good. Plus, once we get some weight on there, that'll squat it a little. Now I gotta build a way to get up here, so I think I'm gonna build myself a ladder. Alright, now we need to level it up and then I'll get the other screws in. So I got some 2x3s because they were quite a bit cheaper and nobody probably ever uses them for anything. Seven more to go. All right, now a normal ladder has 1 foot between each rung. I did 1 foot too because I'm a little bit bigger and it's just gonna be easier for me to actually get up. We'll finish this off and then I'll show you the next thing we're doing. And we now got a ladder. Oh yeah. So this is where you stand on your bird perch. Oh. Or you can just nacho libre. Nacho libre! Go on up. Try it out. I already tried it. You can grab onto that, see? We'll get handrails up there too. What do you think?
Pretty sturdy.
Ready to jump down? I'll catch you.
Alright.
Those are nice jorts.
Appreciate it. Homemade. Cody in, 20% off.
All right, it's a new day and we got some more stuff to do in the shop, but I need to use the forklift, and unfortunately my forklift is not working. It's summertime in Farmington and the radiator cap is totally shot, so it just pukes when it gets hot. So I went to O'Reilly's, I went to AutoZone, I went to Napa. None of them have a radiator cap this big. So I'm gonna have to try to go to Cat. This is an old Cat forklift. I got this thing off of Facebook Marketplace. It needed some parts. Wheel studs were broke off. I had some grade 8 bolts I was able to get in on this side, and that was leaking. It had some wiring issues underneath, but it is a propane powered forklift. So fortunately I got lots of propane power, which worked out. And I was able to get it back together, get it running, and I've used it. Now we gotta find one of these. You can do it. His legs are sore because he's been working out. Getting so strong. Well, they didn't have one either. Theirs weren't big, like this size, so we'll run over next door. I think there's Kenworth and Cat. We'll try that one, and then I really don't know what to do if I can't get that fixed. Good deal, they actually had one. It's a little bit different. It's got little dog ears on it, but not a big deal there. I think it'll still fit. And this was only 14 bucks, so that's a super win. We got a good cap now. So I know originally I said I wanted to just put storage up here, but now I've decided I think I want to actually harbor some stuff. It's still gonna be storage for the most part. But like my bolt bin, I have different things in here, just random pieces, parts, you know, Christmas trees, like package of Zeus clips and different random things. So now, instead of taking up valuable floor space, it's up here and I can still climb my ladder, head up and go get it if I need something. But the next thing I want to get up there is a toolbox, and that is going to be a lot more than what Ian and I can just pick up and throw up there.
This forklift is kind of old school. You got a gas pedal and a brake pedal, and then you have forward and reverse with your left foot. That's how I actually drive it forward and back, is this way with this foot, and I still have to throttle it up with my right. Without a Facebook Marketplace forklift. Man, that's a lot easier on the old back. I also went ahead and put my red heads in with supports, so now nothing can move there on the base. Did the same here with the ladder here. We'll open those up, and then we got plenty of toolbox space for up here now. And we'll get this other handrail in now. All right, well, I want to extend out my workbench here for my big drill press and my vise where they stick out a little farther. Plus, I need another 4x4 for over there. So we're gonna run back to Home Depot and get some more stuff. The way it works. Back again. Driving again. Back into town.
The boys are back in town. It's hot.
It is warm. It's only like 100 degrees today. Choking on water. Ninja Turtles. Home Depot. Oh yeah. Just like many days, this thing's a work truck too. Best phone holder there is. It's crazy how strong that thing is. Hey boy.
not gonna come all the way out to the corner because I wanna have enough room to drive vehicles in this way. So I don't really need it out in the corner because this is gonna be just storage up here. I am not gonna use this for something that I climb up on a regular basis. So having this like this, I think will be just right. So I want to put my extension out here for my drill press and things like that. Plus it gives me room to work around the table. And I'm going to come out another 2 foot. So right here I got 2 1/4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and go 2 foot 2 1/4 with my boards here to come all the way out to the edge of the table for that. The easy part about this is now I can just take this and measure my next one. Now I just realized what I didn't do was subtract the width of this. So I have 1.5 inches here, and I didn't subtract that for the front board that's going to be along the front of the runner for that table extension. Yay. Boom. Now we're right. Since this one's on the front, it's actually going to be 4 feet. Right on the knot. Let's hope that doesn't come into play later. I'm trying to screw into the boards there. I didn't think about that. 3-inch L screws those. Look at that perfection, just like that. Now put our screws in here and hope that this board doesn't split because I got a knot right there. You better not to mention that again. And then we'll do the other side. All right, so I got my extension. Like I said, this is where the drill press and the vise are gonna be. And then we're gonna put the other board up here, but I wanna make some 4x4 legs. So the 4x4 leg there and a 4x4 leg here that are gonna be flush with this as well and hold this thing nice and level. And then we can put it up and we'll look good. This is going to be the perfect little kicked out workbench. So now I'll have my drill and some other stuff. It's gonna be nice. Going to be nice. Oh yeah. We now have the perfect extended wood workbench. It's a little praying mantis. I got a little baby praying mantis on me. Look at him. Just a little guy. So I was being a bad YouTuber and wasn't filming what I did here, but I went ahead and finished out the handrails and then put a lower rail in. I also have these as well. These were actually in the packaging that the US General Toolboxes came in from Harbor Freight. And where I'm gonna put those is on the inside on this part so that there's like a kick plate so that nothing can get kicked down onto the ground. Even though I'm probably gonna be in here 99.9% of the time by myself, if for some reason I had Ian up there and I was down here, I don't want him kicking stuff on my head. I don't want anything rolling onto my head. I also got a couple signs up. So one of the companies that I've used on all of my manual transmissions over the years is Center Force Clutch. If I get a vehicle, I change it out, I throw a center force in it because once you do that once, you really don't have to worry about it again. Secondly, this is actually not just a regular Yukon gear and axle sign. This is the one from the first Onyx Off-Road Build Challenge. So when we did that and filmed that for MAV TV, I actually had everybody here sign it. So you can see like Ian Johnson, Nate Pickle from Dirt Lifestyle Nate, obviously Rudy and Janelle, and you know, Steve Watson and some of the people, anybody that was there on that last day of filming all signed this, including the film crew, which is pretty cool. So this is a really cool kind of keepsake for me that I put up there. Also, Home Depot closes before Lowe's, and so I needed some parts last night, and I went to Lowe's. They had these on sale, 7-inch grinder discs for $1.70. So I bought every single one they had because I was like, man, that $1.70, like these are normally like $13. So that was a win. They only had like 4 of them, but still. And
I got some chain for up there. So this will be my little chain to keep you from falling anyway. They have 350 pound brake strength. So I don't see anybody that's 350 pounds going up there to get anything. I know, because I used to be 365 pounds. The chain had like an 1,800 pound brake strength, so I'm not really too worried about the chain. This was like 1,000 pounds. Now, it's safe-ish. Cool. Good to go. Hello. Hello. Ian's gonna get those toe kicks in while I work on getting these screwed in. I forgot about the board that I put right here for the seam between all these pegboards. So I'm gonna screw those in real quick so they don't pull out. Walmart purchase of the day. Got a bunch of shelving to go up there so I can store stuff. And each one of these shelves is rated to 350 pounds. So that's pretty good. I mean, it's whatever the rate is on that. That should easily hold anything I throw up there and set on a shelf, which will more or less be just like little toolboxes and things that I don't use very often, but don't want to have to go hunt down later. Here you go, Abe. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, eh?
Don't you know? Ian's gonna put those together up there. So they should be 3 foot wide. Now I have 6 foot in between each one of these purlins, each one of these studs on these joists on this building. So should be able to do 2 and 2. And then that plastic one is gonna go out in the end on the other side of the toolbox. That way I have plenty of storage up there just to stack things. More or less stuff like this. Like this is extra cutting parts that I don't really get into very often. Back over here, I have a bunch of old welding helmets, things like that, that I'll really only use if somebody else is here, and I'm gonna just keep all that stuff up there, out of the way, don't need it.
You got a knife?
A knife?
Yeah.
I got a dull one, that's what I always use.
Alright, it's better than my finger.
Yep. Also, Shanna was nice enough to go ahead and paint the top of this to match the rest of the workbench. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can get that drill press up here and get it lined out where I want it. Oh yeah, that's heavy. And now that I moved it over here, I reminded myself how heavy this thing is. And I'm gonna have Ian come down and help me set this up for sure. Ian!
Huh?
Ian, I need your help. I need your help. Ian!
I'm coming.
Ian! Being like him with his mom. Mom, mama, mommy, mom, mama, mom.
Mom! Mom! Mommy!
Don't worry, it's not gonna give you a hernia or nothing.
You sure?
I don't know, I've
like
already
you're
had mine
lying.
surgically fixed.
Oh.
Ready? Yep. Jingies. Hot. All right. Cool. Thank you, sir. This old thing I got for like 50 bucks, another Facebook marketplace purchase. The chuck was bad. You can hammer these chucks out, they just wedge in there. And my dad had another chuck. We were able to pop it back in with a new chuck. And now this thing works great, and I've used it ever since. Sometimes finding these old tools too are all really, really good. I mean, a lot of times the older tools are just unbreakable for some reason. Minus maybe the chucks. You can never have enough fire extinguishers in your shop. Trust me. I'll mark this out, get some holes, and then I'm also gonna go ahead and take another 2x3 and screw it in underneath this thing right here. That way it has support on both sides of the table, so if I'm prying on this vise at all, it should be good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have all kinds of storage up there.
have here is just an old piece of curtain rod that I smashed the ends on and then drilled a hole through it. And I'm gonna hang it right here underneath this. And what that's gonna do is just hold all my bungee cords. If you ever try to figure out where your bungee cords are or how to get to them, well, if I have it hanging right here, then I can get all my bungee cords. Now, one thing I am gonna do is run these little spacers right there so that this hangs down far enough to get it in. Now, they won't be a dilapidated mess when I'm trying to figure out what's what. See how they all hook to each other? That'd be nice and easy. Simple as that. Can't forget to set up the hand cleaner. What you got? Whoo, yeah. Ha! Take the hand. So Walmart didn't have 4 of the same color, so we got 2 silver ones and 2 black anodized ones. We got the toolbox, which is totally empty now, so I can put whatever I want in here. I need to pull my stickers off the front, plus another shelf, plus the bolts. So we are looking real good. Here's a fun fact. If you know anything about these Charles Wells books, one of my old Cherokees is actually in a few of these on the trails with him. And I know YouTube has become one of the best places to research how to work on stuff, but these were my nuggets of knowledge because YouTube didn't exist when I was a kid. How about this? An entire international truck service manual. This thing breaks down everything. And if you know anything about the pre-high output Cherokees, you know the wiring disasters they were. This bad boy right there, that helped you figure it out. I learned a lot with this. We are very slowly getting things organized up there, down here, getting some of this stuff in my back sheds, because I have some other sheds that are just gonna harbor some extra junk. And then hopefully we can start wiring it. And I'm still on the search for some other grills too. I need a Toyota grill because I've built a lot of 4Runners and pickups over the years. I definitely need a Toyota grill if you guys got one, or even an old cruiser grill. Maybe we could work something out on that because I'd like to get a cruiser grill on this wall as well. So we'll get this thing cleaned out and I'll show you what it looks like. All right guys, what do you think? Man, this thing is rad. I got so much more room than I've ever had, ever. Got some license plates up here. Now, the funny thing is, ooh, don't trip on that big old, look at the size of that jack. I got that jack for free because it wasn't working and we built it and then now it works. It's just a monster jack. I don't know what I'll ever use it for. It's like a 12-ton jack or something ridiculous. 10-ton jack, 20,000 pounds. How many people need to pick up 20,000 pounds of the jack? These license plates that we're putting up, these are all states that I've wheeled in. So if you don't see a state in here, maybe I need to come wheel your state. If you got someplace cool, let me know down below. Still got some organizing to do. This side's obviously gonna be a work side once I figure out where the lift is gonna fall. Still gotta find a lift. And being able to do something like this has been a dream of mine, and it's because of you guys following, watching, subscribing, going on and buying the merch. Don't forget too, if you go to the website and pick up any merch, that I have discount codes for something like this. Like this is a product that I've used. I build a lot of cages with the affordable vendor, and you can get on there and I have discount codes, a whole discount code section, so that you guys can get discount codes when you buy stuff. So hopefully that helps you out, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video, so stay tuned. Thanks guys, bye-bye.